booking their names into the final. Away they go.
And just like we saw from Windsor Boys and Leander, both these crews, Scullers and Lea, getting out of the blocks nicely. Really clean sculling from both crews. Scullers just having a little bit of a steering issue there, just moving into the centre of the course, coming back level and parallel with the booms. Both crews sculling at nice high 30s, low 40s, getting out into that high pace through the island.
Yeah, nothing in it off the start so far, I think. Tideway Scullers on this side starting to stretch out, lengthen out. First few strokes can be a bit shorter. Now we want to lengthen out to full length and really get to maximum boat speed as quickly as possible. Lea on the far side, a couple of looks across to check where they are, but so far so good. Clean start and close race, and now it's about stretching out and getting the rhythm and the length that you want to maintain throughout the course.
It's quite interesting here to me that Scullers actually just reading a little bit higher, a couple pips higher, and just looking a little bit lighter and a little bit freer in that hull compared to Lea, who are striking a couple pips lower and just a little bit heavier than perhaps the Scullers crew. Now, that not mean to say that that's going to weigh the way things will be all down the course, but as we can see that Scullers boat just nipping out to half a length and getting their bows ahead. So Lea really need to trust in that rhythm and ensure they're happy that that boat speed will carry them down the course and put them in contention with Scullers.
So the last race of the day under a beautiful Henley evening sky. Blue sky, green fields, coach on the bicycle. We don't always see that at Henley. There's often other structures up here, but it's a different Henley this year. But it's no less important for that as Tideway Scullers making quite a decisive move early in the race. Really sort of, you can see an extra push coming in there, Cam.
Yeah, and to me this is great quad sculling. So I always think when you're in the quad or the 8, you don't really want to change too much difference in pace between that high start pace and then that kind of low race pace in the middle of the race. You really want to keep things lively and long, and in the quad just getting those oars in, really getting the legs pushing down, allows the boat to stay nice and lively and light.
Interesting, just looking at this Tideway Scullers crew here. Finn Regan in the bow seat is hoping to go to a US university as a possible lightweight oarsman there, and in front of him at 100 kilos you've got Gabriel Obholzer, 18 years of age. He's off to Harvard. He's been recruited partly on the strength of his obviously intellectual horsepower, but also because of his ergo score. Oh look, Scullers are being warned by Matthew Pinson. Let's take a close look. No, Lea are being warned. They're coming together. Something's going on here. I think Matthew Pinson. Oh,
and it looks
got
like
a shipwreck.
Crab.
Well, that's a very difficult moment to recover from. We got a little bit of a crab in the bows of the Lea crew. Both crews now will be feeling a bit tense. Lea granting across. How to get back on terms from that, how to recorrect the steering.
That's brutal in the middle of a race. So obviously we're using that anaerobic system to get the boats up to speed at the start of the race, and then as soon as that happens the handbrake goes on, the hull speed goes down, and to regain that boat pace you had you need a big push, just as Lea are doing, but that is expensive. So not only have they lost distance in the race, but they've also used energy to get them back.
Yeah, that was a disconcerting moment for both crews for a minute. They're not quite sure whether that was some wash that came across that caused them a problem or something. We saw a bit of a shipwreck. Great recovery. Let's look back at the replay. Yeah, there we can see, watch the Lea crew. Watch the oars there. Whoa, it's a dropped oar there by Harry Fletcher in the bow seat, but amazingly fast recovery. Yeah. That is a skilled sculler there to be able to do that.
And I think that was actually derived mainly from the big popple, huge underlying wake that just moved across, and Scullers just dealt with that a little bit better, sitting up out of the boat and moving over the wake, and then Lea just getting a bit caught, and one of the rowers sadly and all lost.
Well recovered so quickly by Lea, but that's given Tideway Scullers the chance to extend their lead. I was just talking there about Gabriel in the 2-seat, incredibly strong athlete. You see the contrast between the heavyweight size and the lightweight size between bow and 2 there, and they really are pushing on through the middle of the course. They've taken advantage of that bit of disruption, and they've really opened up a very strong lead over Lea. Lee's still struggling, I think, to get into the position they want to be. Not quite happy yet with their recovery to the right line on the course.
Yeah, and you can see that on the faces of the Lea athletes. They're really feeling that. They've had that almost second start phase to their race. They've got the hull back up to speed, back up to their cruising pace, but they really paid for it. Now they're just trying to think about getting through this next phase and trying to eke back distance on Scullers. Put that lost blade out of your mind and get back into the race.
Yeah, it's a big challenge. You can see the anguish and the agony on the faces of the Lea crew there, whereas for Scullers, this is where they want to be, right? This is going to be calm and cool and collected, and that's just allowing them to do their best sculling. Near perfect conditions now, after that bit of swirl around the barrier that might have been related to the warning around swimmers. I suspect there were a few boats around in that area that may have caused an unusual level of swirl, and that just upset both crews, but it was Lea who took the worst out of that. Unfortunate for them, that's the luck of this. We're racing in the real world and anything can happen.
As we say, it's an outdoor sport, anything can happen, and these scenes here really are the kind of polarity of Henley, which is that one crew is calm, comfortable and out front, and then the other crew is really working as hard as they possibly can to get back in contention so their Henley isn't over.
Absolutely, and enormous amounts of commitment and focus now by the Lea crew. They have put themselves under real pressure, and Tideway Scullers, this is a fast Tideway Scullers squad. Let's make no mistake about that. They really have some power and they really have some pace. They won the National Schools Regatta Championship squad, the Met Regatta Championship Senior Quads and Marlow Regatta, so they are winning crew. Glance over the shoulder from Finn Regan, just checking how far we are to the finish. The answer is, well, probably 25 strokes or so, Finn, so don't look round anymore. You've got a good line. Just enjoy this moment as you book your place in the finals tomorrow, the last race of the day here at Henley. Some drama to start with, but now it's pretty clear Tideway Scullers School are going to be the 47th crew and 47 races today to book a slot in the legendary Henley Finals Day tomorrow, Sunday.
Beautiful scenes to be coming to the line. Fantastic sculling from both crews. Scullers doing the business and into Henley Final Sunday.
So, Tideway Scullers School, A crew, happy with their place in the final, thumbs up to their opposition from Lea, and well, credit to Lea, that was a tricky situation for them coming up against a quad that's been winning and winning and winning. That recovery from an awkward bit of water, excellent recovery, and tired but by no means shamed by that performance, the men from Lea.